Now, there seem to be mixed reactions following the World Press Conference of the PDP's presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar yesterday on the Chicago State University documents and transcripts. The former vice president highlighted in his address, along with lawyer Mr. Kalu, that the current president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu, allegedly forged the certificate he presented to INEC ahead of the February 2023 polls. He also stated that the document showed that President Tinubu's qualifying certificate from Southwest College to Chicago State University bears a female name. This, he noted, showed that the qualifying document does not belong to Bola Tinubu. The CSU document highlighted the owner as a black American owner, and Tinubu, of course, denying having dual citizenship in his INEC form, which means that the document does not belong to him. And if it does, then he must have committed perjury in his INEC form. The CSU also showed that Tinubu attended Government College, Lagos, and graduated in 1970, when indeed the school was established in 1974. It also claims that Bola Tinubu claimed that in his name submitted to INEC, is Adekunle, rather the A in his name submitted to INEC is Adekunle, while he's known as Ahmed.
Now, this has led to wide criticism of the ruling government and worry for the judiciary, as purported by others. In the coming days, we are, of course, going to get the presidential address on these issues live on national television. But before then, to help us get some clarity, let's welcome on the show the National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Felix Morka. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning to you.
All right. Social media has been abuzz with several reactions to the claims of alleged forgery by President Bola Tinubu from the Chicago State University. I would like you to help us with some clarity as to what exactly the true position is, starting, of course, with reference to the press conference held by the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate yesterday.
Thank you very much. Now, there's really nothing to see in this matter, except the massive hogwash that the PDP and its presidential candidates are trying to make of it. Now, don't forget that the origin of this conversation began with the election we had last February, an election which the umpire, INEC, declared in favor of the current president, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Now, following the election, Atiku Abubakar, who contested in that election for the PDP, and the other candidates, proceeded to the tribunal, brought a case before the tribunal to say that they were the winners of that election and urged the tribunal to declare in their favor. Now, for Atiku Abubakar, regarding this subject matter under discussion, he alleged before the tribunal that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, the then candidate of the APC, did not attend the Chicago State University as he claimed. That was the question submitted to the court for determination. And the court reviewed all that and found that the then candidate, Bola Tinubu, the current president, did in fact attend the Chicago State University. And then, again, dissatisfied, they appealed to the Supreme Court. Now, it's important that Nigerians understand the context in which this conversation is taking place. Now, that matter is pending before the Supreme Court. In the meantime, Atiku goes off to Chicago to try to obtain documents in pursuit of, a non-existent, question as to whether or not the president attended the CSU. Now, following that pursuit, the registrar of the CSU, again under oath, verified, confirmed that the president was a student and attended the full program of study, graduated, and was awarded a degree with honors. That's on the record. And there's a transcript to prove that. That transcript was also provided to Atiku and his lawyers. Now, this same registrar made clear that on the issue of certificates, that certificates are issued by the university as a ceremonial document. This is why sometimes when you go to graduation ceremonies, you see the scroll with the document inside, either your testimonial or your certificate is given to you like that. The school orders it one time and provides it to students who are interested in collecting. As a matter of fact, many students don't bother with it because, quite frankly, what they need to do at their master's program or to even seek employment is their transcript. That is the legal evidence of, scholarship. This was done, and the registrar says this document, the certificate, is printed by, vendors on the outside. They print it, so meaning that there are multiple vendors who can create certificates for students who graduate from the same school. Now, this was 1979 that this president graduated. This registrar who was testifying was not the registrar in 1979. Many of the officers of that university have since left the university or retired or are no longer in the service of the university. What does that mean? It meant that the individuals who signed certificates in 1979 may not be those who signed today. He made that very clear. And he also says the document that Atiku Abubakar presented to him, to the school for verification, the certificate, which the president filed with INEC, was a photocopy. That's what was certified and given to this man to look at. And then the lawyer, if you read the transcript, you see the lawyer struggling to point out, to highlight, places they thought were either faded or were cut out of the document to say that that is an incomplete document. And the registrar says, look, from what I see, this is a photocopy. And I can see that, in the process of making that copy, aspects on the edges of the document may have been cut out, which is not, if you do photocopies, sometimes,
No, Mr. Morka.
That's what they said on oath.
Mr. Morka, kindly hold on, just so we're clear. From the deposition, your interpretation of what you're saying is that the representative of Chicago State University said that the photocopy, the process of photocopying the document that was given to him is what maybe must have blurred out certain parts of the document. Is that what you're saying?
That's his testimony on oath. Yes, absolutely.
No, because I also read the deposition. I remember that the lawyer for Atiku Abubakar questioned him with regards the logo, questioned him with regards the signatories, that were placed on it, and questioned him, with regards, I think earlier, questioned him about, the male or female, some of all of that, and if you can verify that Bola Tinubu is the same president, that we currently have, is same with the Nigerian president, which he couldn't 100% verify. He said that he has no reason to doubt, but there's no other way that they can verify it, and Chicago State University can verify. But I don't remember the part where it says that in the photocopying process, some parts were cut out. Did the photocopying change the logo?
No, please. I think it's important that we all read the entire document, not extracts. I'm talking about the full transcript of that deposition. It's about 137
about 218 pages.
Exactly, a very long document. Now, if you read it, you will see portions of that testimony on the question of whether Bola Tinubu was their student. He was very emphatic. He says that, number one,
yes,
Bola Tinubu
yes, Mr. Morka, I get it. What I'm asking you is about the statement concerning when he made photocopies of the document, he changed certain things. So I'm asking, I agree with the part where he said he was their student, even if it was still argumentative, because there's the part where, the Bola Tinubu and Bola Tinubu, he couldn't 100% verify that this is the Nigerian president that, is Bola Tinubu. But what I'm asking you is, does photocopying, what part of the document the photocopying change? Is it the logo? Or which part?
No, see, that is not a question that we're both looking at the transcript and interpreting and discussing what was said, what was asked, and what was answered.
Okay.
Off of that deposition. So it's not for me to sit here and you ask me and tell me what part was cut out. That's
because I want us to be clear exactly what you're saying.
No, that's my point. Let me clarify that.
Okay.
So, when you ask me what part was cut out, that is not, if you read the deposition, it's a long document. I don't know that I can reference, otherwise I will read it to you verbatim. as he said it. If you will take a break, I can pull it out so that I can read it to you. But the point I'm making is that this registrar was clear. And don't forget, he was not looking at the original document, the original certificate that is in the possession of Bola Tinubu. He made clear that this man graduated and was issued a certificate. The original is with the owner of the document. That was not in Chicago, was not submitted for verification. And I don't know how anyone declares a forgery when the document that is allegedly forged is not even in your front. You're not even looking at it. And looking at a photocopy of a document does not convey anything. That is not, you don't go, if you go to the court and actually do that, you will be slammed by the judge. You don't do that. You know, you don't look at a photocopy of a document and declare that it's a forgery.
No, but
okay. Against what are you comparing it?
No,
against what exactly are you comparing that which you're looking at?
But the document, the document that we're talking about here is the one that was presented to INEC. Yes.
A photocopy, right?
Yes.
No, presented to INEC, not the original. Yes.
Not the original.
Yes, a photocopy.
This is the one. Is this the same one? Is this the same one we're speaking about?
Can you go on and ask your question, please?
No, I just wanted to verify that this is the same document that was presented to INEC, because this is what the basis for the whole conversation is. And it's not...
Look,
yeah.
I am not... Look, I'm not the registrar of the Chicago State University. You don't get me to attest to a document that...
All right, sir.
I didn't issue. So please, let's carry on with the discussion.
All right, so we want you to react, of course, to certain conversations. Let's look at, we have a video that we'd like you to react to, because this video has, of course, gotten several reactions. Of course, it's a video of President Tinubu in Chatham House. So we'd like to quickly take a look at the video and have you explained further to us.
Chicago State University, where I graduated, has attested to that. Now I can announce that I've received my original replacement degree certificate from them.
Okay, I just wanted you to help us please clarify if, this was the same document that was presented to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The president, then candidate Bola Tinubu, presented his degree certificate to INEC. That I think is not in question at this point. He submitted that to INEC.
No, but he did say that he submitted the original. So I just wanted to confirm if it's the original. If you can confirm to us that that was what was submitted to INEC.
Who submits an original document to an election body?
No, those were the words of the president.
I don't remember giving my original document to INEC. I mean, when you go to employer to employ and apply for employment, do you submit the original document and leave it in their custody?
Okay, so it was a photocopy of the original.
Okay.
Yes, that's what is submitted.
Yeah, but if you remember also, he did swear an affidavit that his documents were taken from him in 1999, I believe, or were stolen from him in 1999 or prior to 1999 when he was in exile. Do we remember that?
What's your question?
I mean, so which documents then did he get to present if he claimed that he didn't have those documents? Because I think I still have that letter here, the affidavit that he had written and sworn to, that claimed that when he was in exile, prior to 1998, his house was broken into by unknown persons, and his documents were taken. So which one are we talking about that was presented to INEC?
But you just played a video where the president said that he has received a replacement certificate. What's your point? Please, can we go on with more substantive questions?
So the picture that we're painting here is,
yes.
And I'm sorry, this should not sound like a law court. I just want us to be clear on what we are saying.
Like a judge interrogating a witness. That's not the conversation here.
Yeah.
We're looking at the transcript.
Okay.
Of the deposition. And stay with the transcript, because that's the process that was brought before the Chicago court. Stay with that. Don't bring up things.
Yeah, but the bone of contention is not with the transcript. The bone of contention is whether the documents he presented to INEC is forged. That's where the majority of the conversation is.
Where in the transcript did it say that the document was forged? Now, this document was issued by vendors who routinely produce certificates for the school. And over the years, the signatories of certificates change from time to time when officers of the university either retire or are no longer in the employment of the university. Other authorized persons then sign those documents. Now, I, Felix Morka, I am an alumnus of the Harvard Law School. Now, my degree issued in 1995. I bet that if today I apply for a replacement, from the Harvard Law School, I will get a certificate, but it may not be a certificate signed by the same persons who signed my degree at the time of my graduation back in 95. Does that make the degree invalid? Does that make it a forgery? You see, look, even in graduate schools who graduate in the same year, sometimes there's a transition of officers within the same academic year. And Peter will have a certificate signed by Paul, and Paul will have a certificate signed by Peter from the same university, graduated the same year. That also happens.
Very true.
Why are we fixated on a certificate when the school has said this man graduated? Now, what is the purpose of a certificate? It is to certify that you were in school and you took a course of study and you graduated. You were certified to have satisfied all of the requirements.
Very true. But here's the thing.
Here's the nature of this. So, we can create a storm out of a teacup, but it doesn't stick.
Great. Mr. Morka, but here's the thing.
Yes.
If you, like you mentioned Harvard, if you're going to reapply for a certificate, to Harvard now or from Harvard, through a third party, do you write to the third party or do you write to Harvard?
You write to the school.
Great.
You write to the school.
So
you write to the school. The school then will, contact whatever vendors.
Yes. And so in the deposition,
Can I finish that answer, please?
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, yes, please. We can have a more. Now you write to the school to request your transcript because most students who graduate or most graduates don't know who those vendors are. So, but there are some students who can go straight to a vendor and request it if they have that information. But the point is that most people intuitively will approach their university to say, look, I lost my certificate, I need a replacement. And then that will be ordered. But the point I'm making is that when it's ordered, the printer who prints it may use even a different font to print that. Because, a printer that was used in 1979, you don't expect that same printer will be in existence in 2023 and will be used. Maybe they have moved to a digital platform to print with digital technology. The outcome will be different from what is printed with manual ancient, machines back in 1979. All I'm saying is that we are putting too much on this matter. And at this point, nobody has seen the original certificate by this president. No one has seen it, to be able to say this is real and this is not real. And in any event, this individual has a transcript, by the university, and that shows that he graduated. He was a student, completed his course of study. And in any event, at the end of the day, what is the relevance of this conversation to the matter which was, brought before the tribunal? This matter is in the Supreme Court. What is the point here? Are you going to say that this man is not qualified to be president? Or are you going to say that, he forged the document when in fact, you have not, taken any steps to prove forgery? What happened in Chicago does not prove forgery because the registrar never said this document was forged. He simply says, look, this thing is an old document. There are features of it that appear this and appear that. That's it. That's not the basis on which, otherwise, most people in this world will be in prison for criminal acts that they never committed.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Morka, for giving us some clarity. And I just want to ask you, on the record, I know you've sort of made statements alluding to the answer to this question I'm about to ask, but just for clarity's sake, because we did have some representatives from the All Progressives Congress on the show. We asked them and they failed to directly answer the question. And the question was, once again, for the final time, did the president forge his certificate? And why I ask this is because every time we asked the question, the focus was on the fact that we should not overheat the polity, and we never got a direct answer. So did President Bola Ahmed Tinubu forge his certificate?
In answer to your question, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, did not forge his certificate, did not forge any certificate. And you do not forge a document that you rightfully own. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has earned his degree from the Chicago State University. The school has confirmed that. And what is the incentive to go about forging a document that belongs to you? I mean, this conversation is actually verges on the edge of just being ridiculous. How do you forge something that actually this the school tested that? So meaning that if he goes there tomorrow to ask for another certificate, the school will issue it because they say he was a student. So why would you go forging a document that belongs to you? Like it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but
it doesn't.
Yeah, but
what is the incentive? What is the reason? People forge things that they don't own.
But
they forge things they're not entitled to. Yeah. You don't forge things that belong to you, that you own already, that you're entitled to.
Yeah, but Mr. Morka, are you aware if he did go ahead to reapply and receive a certificate from Chicago State University? And this is what I'm asking, because if you look at the deposition once again, the question here is, so CSU doesn't know of any diploma dated 1979 like the INEC diploma that has been issued, correct? And the registrar answered correct. So it almost sounds like they are not aware of whatever document that was presented to INEC. If the claim is that, yes, we have the records here, this person did go to, Chicago State University. We have his transcript. He can order, a reorder certificate, through a third party. The school should be aware, because I can decide now that a couple of years later I'm going to go apply.
You are reading a document and you are giving a different spin to it. The registrar just told you that you can order certificates through third parties, with or without the school. And I've said that earlier, that in some cases, in some universities, they even tell you, because the schools don't want to be bothered every time you need a certificate after you graduated, they have to, trigger the administrative procedures to order it. They tell you, once they confirm, the vendor will confirm with the school. Once they confirm that that person was a student, they issue the certificate. This is routine. It's absolutely ceremonial. Some people even design, suggest the format of their certificate because they want it unique. They can prescribe that, because what matters is that you graduated on record. That is all that matters. It's not whether your certificate was blue or green or yellow or short. It's that you graduated from the school, and which is why transcripts is the ultimate proof of scholarship, not a certificate. So I don't know whether you have applied to do a master's at the university. When did they ever ask you to submit your certificates? All they do is ask you to submit your transcripts. That is what is evidence that you went to school. So look, the point here is that this president, as candidate, had no reason to forge a document that is already his, that he had earned as a student, paid school fees, attended classes, graduated with honors as the school has certified. All of this, other things that we're discussing, what value is it to the Supreme Court? Because ultimately, that's the reason I'm talking to you. Otherwise, if it's just about this, cacophony of sounds with no suggestion of melody, I won't be here. I'm here to see what the case is that is going to the Supreme Court, because that was the basis on which this inquiry started. And that's where it's going to end. Atiku yesterday at the press conference said that if he loses at the Supreme Court, he will accept that verdict. And you know what? I commend him for that, because he's a statesman and he has a right to pursue inquiries. But I hope that when the Supreme Court has spoken, on this matter, either way, either for or against the proposition that they are pushing, that everybody will take a deep breath and actually rest, because we have a country to build and a country to run. And this president was elected by the majority of Nigerian people to govern, and that's what he's doing. And he will not be distracted by all of this, people who could not prove their petition in court, and now think that it's from Chicago, they're going to win presidency. Nobody are watching presidency out of some flimsy process coming out of a foreign legal jurisdiction. That doesn't happen, and it's not going to happen.
Mr. Morka, do you think that this is an important conversation to have? Do you think that it's okay for Nigerians to ask
I will tell
these
you why.
questions?
I will tell you why it's important to have. The reason it's important to have for the heck of it is that part of the real agenda here, and Atiku also said that much yesterday, that look, he has a lot of axe to grind with his president. He has a lot of personal scores to settle. The real issue here and the whole pursuit is about attempts to delegitimize this president because they lost and they're still sulking from their loss. Now it's time to make this president look like he did something that's wrong, that's dishonorable. And that's the purpose. Otherwise, if it's with respect to the courts, the matter in court, I mean, this is not even a short shot, let alone any attempt at all. But it's only an attempt to delegitimize, and that's why some of us are responding. Otherwise, why bother? But we're responding because Nigerians, the innocent people at home who are being fed with this information, may otherwise believe that this president had false document when he didn't.
All right.
And that's the purpose of the pushback that you say, because the facts should be clarified, not nobody should pull any wool over anybody's eyes.
Absolutely, we agree with you. That facts, we agree with you, Mr. Morka, that facts should be clarified. I would like you to also respond to those who make reference to the fact that the identity or the background of the president, the conversation that has been a long time coming, right from the days of Gani Fawemi.
You see, look, when a story is told, a story is repeated. When a story is told, over and over again, people believe that it may be true. Our political, quagmire did not begin today. It's been in the works for as long as this country has existed. People have, said things, taken up issues that were never worthy to be, taken up. But the point is that, yes, the relic of this matter has, some history. But this individual has clarified at every turn, his position. He has served in other capacities, with Deloitte, with Mobil Oil, these institutions. I don't know how you employ anyone at that level. These are serious-minded, companies. Employ anyone and give them serious assignments when, in fact, they didn't, earn or qualify. They also do their due diligence to scrutinize individuals and their resumes and their certificates and their transcripts before, putting responsibility in their hands. Now, how do you then say that such an individual didn't go to school? Because that was the case. And I can't stop to emphasize that was the argument, that this man did not go to CSU. That was what took them to Chicago. It wasn't about certificate forgery. Because if he didn't go to CSU, the question of forging certificate would never have arisen. Nobody was discussing it at that time. Now you go to the school and they tell you he's a student. We have a transcript. They give everything to you, and you say, "Oh, he forged the certificate." You know what? This is beyond ridiculous, and I think we need to rest this matter.
Yeah. And it's also an important conversation to have, regardless.
It is.
And like you mentioned, it didn't start last week or in this election. It started, back then in 1998. Gani Fawemi did write, on this. And of course, there's also something I want to point out that you may, provide some clarity on. I don't know if this is also important. There is, of course, from the newspaper reports, PM News, that was quoted in 1999, forgery allegation, my case, and that is from Senator Bola Tinubu. He then also went on to share his NYSC certificate. This is also something that has made conversations where the name on the NYSC certificate says Tinubu Bola Adekunle. Is Adekunle, one of his names, or did the name change, at some point?
Look, you have to ask the makers of these documents. Now, can I ask you a question? Do you know of anyone who has ever applied for Nigerian passport or applied for driver's license, and then your license ends up, they provide it to you, and you look at it and find that something on your, vital information has been distorted? Yeah, I mean, is there any other Nigerian who has experienced this? Let's put out a
absolutely.
Please, let me answer that question, because we make everything out to be some deliberate act. If there's an A and somebody put a name, there are many students who undertake NYSC and many certificates that are issued. Somebody is sometimes with the calligraphers with their hand, they write these names. Sometimes people make mistakes, like the F that was indicated against his name from Southwest College. People make mistakes, and the registrar in his deposition made that point that look, these things, clerical errors do happen. Typists make mistakes. They type and you correct, and they type and they bring you back the same mistakes and you correct again. These things happen. So my point is that you need to depose the writer of the certificate, NYSC, to ask him why he put A Adekule instead of A Ahmed, if that's what is on that certificate. I have not viewed it personally, so I'm only saying that the fixation is extreme, and I think we need to bring this down so that we can properly inform Nigerians and focus on the things that are important.
All right.
Country today.
Thank you so much, Mr. Felix Morka, for joining us. As we wrap up the conversation, we're talking about allowing him to basically focus on governance, and what would that look like for President Bola Tinubu? What would that look like for the APC?
Focusing on governance is dealing with the priorities of Nigerians. Nigerians obviously deserve, so much more. They deserve a whole lot better. As a people, as citizens, from their government, they have a right to expect the very best that government can provide. But this is our collective responsibility, and we have voted at the election, giving mandate to this individual. And we need to afford him some space to actually go about the business of governing Nigeria, to tackle serious issues that we are confronted with, whether it's from security or healthcare or education, or issues of livability. These are very fundamental issues that we challenge a lot right now to deal with, and this government needs that calmness to focus on those things, so we can. And even the opposition, quite frankly, I think rather than all this indulgence in inanities, I think they need to focus a little bit more to play the role that they have a duty to play, right, as the opposition, to help government formulate policies and to critique policies constructively so that we can get it right. Nobody gets it right because the president doesn't mean you know everything. Everybody needs to participate to help the government get the right policies.
We absolutely agree with you. It's a joint effort, it's a collective effort. We all have a role to play, and we thank you for playing your own role in joining us to sort of shed light on the confusion in the Chicago State University conversation at hand. We hope that when we ask you to come again, you'd oblige us, and we look forward to interviewing you soon.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.